Hello, 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 everybody. It is so great to see all of your non-existent, beautiful digital faces. Welcome to Arc 2, Episode 5 of Transplanar RPG Salvation Without Blood. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I am the GM and executive producer behind Transplanar, which is our all-transgender, person of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play livestream campaign set in a non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @ByConnieChong, and on Tumblr at @and Daddy Issues. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program, and our March schedule should be going up pretty soon. So if you want to play Masks GM by yours truly for only $12 a pop, go to magpiegames.com and sign up for that. So I'm going to pass along introductions to C.
Hi, y'all. My voice cracked.
It's the tea. It's the tea, ma.
It's the tea, ma. Hello, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, and streamer here on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitch at pi_sharp, which is who I am. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at pi_sharpart, or on Tumblr at pi-sharp, because I haven't collated any of my new usernames. I play Oka, and I am super, super hyped for this episode. Max, who are you? I've completely forgotten.
I'm Max. I'm they, them. I am a seamster and a cat dad, which you can see if you follow me on Instagram at starchmonger or stitchmonger. Devin, tell us about yourself.
Hello everyone, my name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord chat. Join the Discord. The link's in the chat. Just quite open, quite public. Not very large, but we're getting there. We're trying to count to 420 in the counting channel. Also, can we get some, whoever's day it is, can we get some pogs in the chat for the stream quality? Streaming in a high quality. Pretty good, pretty good.
You have Erica to thank for that. Helped me troubleshoot, realized that I was being a total farcical dunce, and that I'd set the output to like 140 snail quality.
Well, speaking of Erica.
Hello, everybody. I am Erica. She, her pronouns, and I play Vinox Scherzo, she, her pronouns. That sorcerer with draconic ancestry elf that we all love her mischievous ways. I can be found on any social media platform that I exist on at Erica Newgirl, and that includes here on Twitch, where I am, as of this week, the #1 solitaire player on all of Twitch. That's right.
Wow.
Esports, get ready for me. I'm coming at you. With a world record run of 2 minutes and 10 seconds, I might just be the best solitaire player in the world. With that, I will pass to Connie.
Great, thanks, Erica. That's amazing. Everyone follow Erica Newgirl. So you can now access, as a reminder, our full schedule. We don't just do D&D. That might change in the future, but we don't just do D&D for now by using !schedule in chat. Here's a quick rundown. As you know, Sundays, which means starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, C does an art stream where they do take requests. So one sub gets one 10-minute doodle. I guess it's not a free request because you're paying a sub for it, but it's like $5 for a 10-minute doodle by an awesome artist, which I think is pretty worth it. And Tuesdays at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time are our video gaming nights. Every other Thursday at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time is our one-shot wonders, where our cast takes a break from D&D to play a one-shot of GM-less, low-prep, and/or indie tabletop games. And of course, Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time, we play our main campaign for our D&D game. And finally, on the last Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time is our sub-gaming night, where we game with our Twitch subscribers live on stream. So I'm going to pass things along to C about our promo partners.
Oh boy, I bet we are, aren't we? Where's my script? Hello, everyone. As a reminder, you can check out our official promo partners, our official promo partnership with other queer, trans, and BIPOC-led streams, pods, and projects by using the !promo partners command in chat at any point. And we also have our official merch store up. As you know, you can use the !merch command on our Redbubble page to get yourself a Transplanar t-shirt, sweatshirt, mug, or anything else. Yes, my captions are getting fixed right now. I apologize.
They're good. They're fine. You don't
Okay,
have to worry
good,
about
great.
them anymore.
Love it. Love that they're better. Erica, it's all you.
Yes, we like to acknowledge here at Transplanar those who have subbed, gift subbed, resubbed, and/or donated bits during the last episode, or sees art stream or solo gaming night or group gaming night, or in this case, our birthday streams earlier this week. And those people are Insanity Entertainment, Gorilla Red, B Zelda, Lipsview, Key Squared, Yikes It's Tristan, Cerulean Silhouette, The Transverse, Sylvie TG, The One and Only Rao, Zero Technov, Tape Anxious, Puke Piku, Media Martyr, Big Elder Turnip, Sticky Not Eric, T Fredrickson 80, One Capture Design, Troglodyte, Isla Cartels, GM Hina, Minion, This Rogue Life, Rytel, Nimbifer, Pear Bear 321, Sarah the Chill, Mars Ducks, Ghost 00, the GR33, I can't read, NR Roo, I'm sorry I butchered that one, Shark Attack, Greg A, Apple Juice 9982335.
You missed a 9.
Shit. Pink Clouds, Uranium Games, Captain 76, Jellyfish Bio, Air Rari, Reptilian Potato, Frostwalker Podcast, Hannah May Create, or Hannah May Be Famous, Max Morkson, Luthiet, Quaxazoo, Autumn Violets, Lil Pixie Punk, X-Calamity, Torcado, Cobartier. This is getting harder and harder. Jacobo Mage.
Got this.
Lichi, Jude Law the actor. Fluorescent Jellyfish cassette tapes. Taps. Who Blew Mama of Goblins? Evelyn, Psychic Jagamo, Alex T Blue, 666, Tofu 666, Stephanie's ad girl.
Stephanie's sad girl. Not Stephanie's ad girl.
My mind is so wrecked right now. This is so hard. When this gets so hard. Finn the Bin, Wary Query, Honey Punches 9, Dungeon Meowster, Scruffuses, and Fast Man 91. Thank you.
Woo! Good job, Erica. Wow. That was a lot of
She's the
names.
#1 solitaire player on Twitch, but can she
be literate?
I should have worn my glasses for this because I'm old and play solitaire. Also, as you can see on our overlay, we have a 25 sub goal. 5 subs grants the party a point of collective inspiration. 15 subs gets us an auto crit that anyone, including the GM, can use. And hitting 25 subs triggers a PC backstory flashback. GM Connie will roll a D4, and whoever the number lands on will be pulled into a flashback scene of the GM's choice. Max, will you please remind us what's happening in this campaign? Because I forgot.
Gosh, me too. Good thing I have it written down. As a reminder, you can access our recap document at any time by using the !recap command or visiting bit.ly/transrecap. If you don't want to read it, or don't read it because there's not last episode isn't up yet. Here's what happened. The crew has a little group mediation before heading down the Black Tongue, the river, to the Weavespun Nest, where they run into everyone's favorite raven lesbian, Rev. She's secretly the Duchess of the Court, and she's out for myriad blood. Vinash takes over Oka and speaks to the Raven Queen. She's supposed to be in Rev, but Rev's too full of hate, so she remains in the care of 100 ravens. As Dewey touches Oka, radiating Vinash energy, he's thrown back and sees visions that all of them are paragons. Who would have thought?
All right, thanks, Max. So moving on, Devin, why don't you tell us about the title of this arc to episode 5 episode?
Sure. So as always, we take our episode titles from poets, or from poems written by BIMPOC and or trans, queer, LGBTQIA plus poets. And so today's episode's title is Salvation Without Blood, which is from the poem Wrapped in My Body I Dream by J. Jennifer Espinoza. The full verse reads, The whisper of life without a death, the dream of salvation without blood.
I think it's very fitting for this episode. Can you achieve salvation without blood? Of course, now moving on to the session itself, let's get right into it. Some content warnings for our campaign. including this episode, may include suicide, fantasy violence, the death, often violent, of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So, if any of those are triggers for you, please take care of yourself the way you need to be taken care of for this episode. And let's begin. The Raven Queen shines blackly. Her echo bleeds through the myriad eyes of myriad crows perched upon the twisted roots of death-bleached trees. 4 teenage apostles prostrate themselves at the base of the weave-spun nest, black vestments heavy with bone and mud. When the 5 of you first arrived, it seemed like they were praying. Now the truth becomes obvious, like fresh blood on snow. An invisible force is holding these apostles against the ground, heavier than steel, than age, than death. After all, divinity has mass. Gorgeous, violent mass, pressing down on the 5 of you from all sides, crushing, pitting, pulverizing. And yet, Oka, Manaya, Dewey, and V, you remain standing, where holy folk and even the strongest of warriors would have fallen to their knees, crushed by holiness. You remain standing, which is incredible. This thaumaturgic pressure, this holy weight is enough to flatten bone to dust and crack diamond, and yet the 4 of you still stand. Manaya, you stumble backward, struck by the smell of ocean, the lash of storm, the vision of a hot and swirling tempest breaking ship. V, you reel from the memory of a bed, a man, the splitting grief of betrayal. And Dewey, you stagger from the sound of wind, a sweeping expanse of field underneath your feathers, and freedom, freedom, freedom ringing in your skull like a funeral bell. Okay, you're fine. The only person...
I doubt it. I doubt it.
For once in their life.
The only person not standing in your group of 5 is, of course, Rev. Rev, that broad-shouldered and big-biceped drow woman, Rev, from the court of ravens, Rev, with her feather-black leathers and spiked whip and daggers. Rev kneels in the mud, panting, sweating blood. Baba comes by, clutching her temples as though that could block out the immense sound of a god's voice. And that god says,
Just kidding, go ahead.
it was the Raven Queen, but it's funny
Just
that you thought it was
kidding.
Vinash.
I assumed, I don't know.
The Raven Queen says, not meow, Bubba, please shut up. My Paragon cannot serve me like this. The echo of the Raven Queen speaks, not with hatred in her heart. Vinash, my brother, war maker, earth singer, please.
Honey!
I'm sorry, that was Babo. He scrambled. Let me restart. The Raven Queen basically entreats you, Oka, as Vinash, as Oka. Please, help her. You have the child of Sen, the children of 4 of us with you. Make my Paragon understand. If she completes her duty, if she slays the demon, nothing tethers her anymore, and we will lose. Again. Vinash, my brother, blood rage, second of Udabathi, voice of power, please. Help her understand. And Oka, Vinash speaks through you. What does he say?
Mother of feathers and the dark, there are some things that we will never see eye to eye about. Your Paragon will be stronger with me by her side. We will take the rage and form a mountain upon which you may nest.
Vinash, my brother, Red, you do not understand. If you allow the rage that consumes you to consume her after she completes her goal, she will be no longer with us, for nothing else matters to her than her hatred. Something else must matter. Something else must compel her.
She will find what it means to have power. I will be sure of it. She will not get lost. This body doesn't suit me. It too fails under the fire and the lightning. Yours would do the same. But I will make her strong enough to hold you.
Perhaps it is not strength she needs, but kindness. And as the Raven Queen says this, her voice begins to fade. But now, Vinash, my brother, Bloodsworn, second of Udabathi, I must rest. Go. Go. And with that, this huge hydraulic force, this presence of a shattered god, slowly rises, lifting off of the atmosphere, lightening your shoulders from the burden. Retreat back into that large, twisted nest made of gnarled roots and broken branches and shattered leaves. And the 100 ravens that her voice was coming out of through 100 of their throats all take flight in a flutter of wing and feather. And like a dark cloud, cover out the light shining through the canopy and disappear into the trees. And that pressure from all around you is now gone. What do the four of you do?
I don't know if I don't think Udabathi has necessarily let go of Oka yet.
Okay.
And I think you hear the fucking loud ass heater in our apartment.
Yeah, our apartment is like, I don't know what's going on, but there's some chaotic energy here in our space to today.
Oka's body is piloted by Vinash to stand in front of Rev, who I think is still kneeling.
Yes.
And they tilt her chin. We have a lot of work to do, Rage Seeker.
Rev looks up at you panting, and you see that her sweat that was coming out through her pores is commingled with blood. She's like sweating blood a little as she looks up at you. Then she looks down at the blood coming out of her body, like she's surprised to see that she's bleeding. And her eyes are wide, her gold-rimmed pupils sort of blown wide with what you see as fear and anxiety and reluctance. And Rev just looks into your eyes, Vinash, not Oka, Vinash, and she says, "What are you?"
Tired for now. See you soon. And then maybe does it dissipate there?
Yeah, I think maybe Vinash is sucked back down, and your eyes, I think, Oka, they turned like red, like crimson, like all of it. The scleras as well. They sort of recede back into your double pupils, and they become black and blue again. Do you reel from it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, you reel backward as Vinash is sucked back into you like a big god straw, sucking this shard of a god back into your soul. Manaya,
The big suck.
Manaya, Dewey, and V, what do you do?
As soon as Benaya senses the shift of things lifting, she books it forward, specifically for Oka, but I guess for Rev too.
Okay. As you move forward, Rev suddenly jerks away from your sudden movement as though she were like a cornered prey animal seeing movement in the dark. And she like immediately gets up and she's like panting. She's kind of crouched over a little bit. And she like raises a hand that you realize now has the shining length of a dagger clutched in her palm.
Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you okay?
She lowers the dagger, turns, and begins to flee.
Manaya lets her go.
Okay.
She'll be back.
All four of you hear like the crashing of her huge muscular body tearing through the undergrowth, the shuddering vines and leaves spattering the ground with some earlier atmospheric wetness. Dewey? V?
He's gonna watch Rev and look back to the group and be like, should we really let her go? Do we not need her?
She'll be back.
I mean,
Given what just happened, she'll be back. Oka, please tell me we got her.
well, so define, where do I even start? So you know how I said that because we were all dreaming, we were all involved?
Right.
So involved is maybe a lighter word than I would have used now. I mean, I saw you all in there. The sun, freedom, open fields, a good gestures at Dewey. Then at Manaya. Ocean. Like salt in my teeth. And grief, heartbreak, desire, love. V.
Look, that's not important. Are you okay? And did we get the Raven Queen, the piece of the Raven Queen?
Well, I think I'm fine. We're all kind of fucked though. I wouldn't say that everything's okay.
Did we lose her?
No, she's.
Oh, thank the gods.
She's still waiting for. Oka gestures at the hole of foliage that Rev disappeared into.
Okay.
Well, if I understand correctly, you're not the right person for Vanash, right? So why can't Raven Queen just hop in one of us temporarily?
She's different. She's different than Vanash.
It's working out so great for Oka, it seems like.
Hey, watch your beak, bird.
Look, I'm not volunteering to have some type of godlike being jump into my body. It just seems leaving without anything feels a little disappointing.
Well, she's safe, at least. All those birds, I guess, are enough to hold her, but she won't take any of us. She wants Rev. I don't think will settle for I mean, maybe Dewey. I mean, you're not a raven exactly, but maybe we could... Okay.
Dewey's like on the ground, scooching backwards. As Oka's saying this.
Excuse me. The voice comes from one of the 4 apostles that were formerly prostrating in front of the weave-spun nest. Now that the pressure has like disappeared, you know, that like huge overbearing presence of the echo of the Raven Queen is gone. The 4 of them seem to be like coming back to their senses, and they're like slowly like staggering to their feet, draped in black vestments caked in skulls. One of them is sort of like leaning bodily against the side of like a trunk, a big moss-dappled trunk that encompasses one of the many twining to form that huge nest in the center of this forest clearing. And she sort of turns to the 4 of you. Her face is painted to sort of resemble like bones, and she's also wearing like a half skull of a bird coming out from her forehead. She goes, She looks super out of it. She looks super discombobulated, like she just woke up from being hungover. I'm sorry, but this is holy ground. Outsiders cannot trespass. I have to ask you to leave.
Right, of course. Are you all gonna be okay?
Yes, we must have been caught by a sickness or something. I don't quite remember. It's okay, Fern, says like another one of the apostles, like patting her on the shoulder. This one's significantly shorter, seems to be maybe a halfling behind all that paint. And he goes, ever since we took up guard here, we seem to be struck by sickness every so often, and we come to on our knees. It must be the presence of the queen. Looking at them, the 4 of them don't seem to know what happened exactly. They seem to have like been rendered like their memories have been evacuated. Like they don't know that the ravens were all just talking, and that the Raven Queen was speaking to the 4 of you, and specifically to Vinash through Oka.
Well, we can let these. We can go. If you don't want us here, we can go. We're just travelers. We wander. We found this place, but we can go.
Yes, if you don't have official court business, I'm afraid we have to ask you to leave. This is a protected site. Oh, my stomach.
Friends.
Godhood drains the body.
What do the 4 of you do?
Probably go after Rev.
Okay. The 4 of you turn away from the weave-spun nest. How do you try to find Rev? Do you just follow her path, or?
Yeah.
Okay, who's leading this expedition?
I don't have very strong tracking skills of any kind.
Oh, Oka does.
Okay, Oka, roll investigation. Are the rest of you helping Oka in some way?
I
No?
think
Okay, yeah, go
Dewey's
ahead, Dewey.
distracted.
Okay. Manaya, V?
I was thinking about maybe like, because it's a lot of brambly stuff. Is there like trees to like things to climb up to and like?
Yeah,
around?
there's like trees all around. There's muddy ground. Again, think like bayou meets swamp meets like fen meets bog sort of situation. Anything that could conceivably be in any of those environs you can find. What did you get? Natural 20?
20.
Oh, nice. Maybe you don't even need advantage. I don't think you do.
Sure.
Okay, so add your investigation modifier to that.
Can it be a survival check instead? To track her, like through.
Yeah, I guess.
Mud.
Yeah, I guess. How are you making it survival instead of investigation?
I guess it doesn't have to be. They are literally the same.
Let's keep an investigation then. How are you investigating? How are you following the tracks?
Well, you said that she has huge muscles tearing through the
Yeah,
underbrush.
she does.
She's not trying to be sneaky.
No.
And it's muddy as hell here.
No.
So I feel like there are plenty of clues. And Oka's, I think there's still something like percolating, in their like God-ridden mind. That's like they can still taste like blood in their mouth moment. So all together, all together. It's a 25.
25. Okay. You follow broken branches and snapped twigs and big, like, cloistering footprints in, in, like, the sucking mud underfoot. You follow. It's not hard to find Rev. You find her eventually. She's sort of, like, huddled up against a dead tree. Nestled, her broad shoulders, sort of one shoulder nestled into a hollow of the tree. And her back is to you. And you can see, like, she's got, like, feathery pauldrons on, and they're sort of heaving up and down as she's, like, breathing. She seems to be breathing very deeply and very shallowly. And she's just sort of, like, leaning there with her back to the four of you in the middle of this swamp. And you see, like, fungo pods, like, pulsating nearby, like, glowing with a kind of sickly green bioluminescence.
Manaya puts a hand up for quiet and mouths, "I've got this." And she steps forward, intentionally making a little bit of noise, but not like snapping twig noise, and just goes, "Hey."
I'm not a hero. You can't make me a hero.
You're right. No one can.
I can't be her vessel.
Manaya takes, has her hands up, but is taking a few steps closer. And as she's within like speaking distance, she sits down in the mud. Why is that?
There's leeches in the mud. You don't want to sit.
Oh. Manaya gets up.
There's one on your... She just, like, feebly, like, kind of gestures. She sort of, like... What was the question you asked her?
Why not?
She wipes some blood off of her brow, sort of mixed in with the sweat. She looks down at it kind of wonderingly. She says, I haven't bled in a really long time. She sort of, like, whips her hand and the blood comes off. Someone like me, Manaya, is not meant to be a hero. Someone like me is, has been, and will always just be a hungry ghost.
See.
My name, Rev. And she turns to you and takes out a dagger. And for a moment you're like, is she gonna stab me? But she actually brings the dagger down to her arm and cuts. And even though a wound blooms along her arm, no blood comes out. And she sort of looks at this cut. You know, it's just sort of like dry flesh. She flexes her arm and then it knits back together again. Rev. Revenant. I am already dead.
Profane on death.
I am the opposite of everything the Queen of Bones and Feathers stands for. I do not believe whatever that thing is inside that nest. Why would it... I am not a hero. I am a corpse. And the only thing that keeps me going is knowing that one day I will put my knife between the ribs of that dog-headed man and I will feel him die.
Then what? Will your soul be released? Go to the after?
Well, there's no after anymore, is there?
Will you be at rest? Will you have taken your vengeance, fulfilled your life's duty, and what, lie down and die? Again?
I suppose I will, yes.
My mother told me once that trees and grass and the little bugs that crawl upon your fingers aren't alive because they have no soul, they have no heartbeat. Blood does not flow through their veins. My father, on the other hand, maintains that all life grows, all life changes, all life moves. And no life has one goal. We met in the pits in Dabathati. You were there tracking this dog-headed man that's after my friend. No non-living being could have wielded the power that you had back then. The way you moved with that whip, the strength you carry, the resolve to keep going in the face of certain death. I mean, look at me. I thought I was going to die, and well, I don't like to brag, but you. And the way you reacted when Oka pulled out that soul. You may not be a person, per se, but you are alive. And I admire you for chasing after your goals so vehemently. Maybe I care too much, but I just hope you don't miss out on the other parts of the other beautiful parts of the world. You don't have to be the Raven Queen's vessel. No one's forcing you, no one's making you. But I think it's time we caught you up to speed on what's going on, what's really going on.
What are you telling her, Manaya?
I mean, Manaya's gonna wave over the other three party members, and just explain everything. The dreams, the vanishing, the stranger, the paragons, why we need them, the limited well of magic, or the well of magic that is now limited. And at the end of it all, she asks, now that you know what's going on, why we are adventuring, why we're here, I will ask unbiasedly. Unbiasedly? What the?
Without
Is that
bias.
a word?
Without bias.
Thank you. I will ask without bias. You're free to answer in any way you'd like. The world does not need a hero, it needs power, it needs to become the new normal. This is not normal. We don't need you to be a hero. We need you to work with us for the sake of everyone.
Okay, I have a question for you, Manaya. When you were
Yeah.
telling Rev all this stuff, you
Mhm.
mentioned Oka was a paragon of Sen?
I would have let Oka mention that.
Did
But
you,
yeah.
Oka?
Oka would have said something like Sen, Mahu, Galtanger, Scott, and Nectus, the Raven Queen.
Yeah, okay. She just sort of like slumps there against the tree, looking at the four of you, and says, You are asking the impossible of me.
Give you not what but needs to be done.
I am hatred. I am fury. I am vengeance. I am not a team player.
Get in line.
Rev's gold-rimmed irises snap over to your double pupils, Oka. She sort of, like, clenches her fist, like, around the hilt of her dagger.
I appreciate the way Manaya speaks, but maybe you and I speak a more similar language. Get up.
You speak to me as though you know me.
Get up.
Who are you to tell me to get up?
Get up!
Sounds like you're trying to provoke her into doing what you want her to do. And she has some resistance to it, so I need you to roll intimidation.
Oh, charisma.
Yeah, I'll give you advantage, though, because you did just sort of, like, shoot out Vinosh. like 2 minutes ago. It's a 15? Okay, that's not bad. You can re-roll that because it's on top of other dice. That's a
Natural 20, baby! Natural 20!
Okay, what's this
Minus 2 is an
It's
18.
18. Okay. She looks at you and sort of like very, very reluctantly, it like straightens and like sort of looks down at you because she's much taller than you, Oka. Why are you here? Why do you travel with them?
Because you live, you die, and then sometimes you have to live again.
I know that more than most, I would venture.
You'd be surprised.
You would be surprised. You think you're the only one who knows anything about suffering? You think you're the only one who feels like they're a monster? You think that because you don't bleed?
I am a monster. There is no place for me here among the realm of men.
Get in line. None of us are just people anymore. None of us. And not only that, we're the only people we have. Why do I stay with these people? I fucking ask myself the same question. Because when I thought that I would never trust anyone again, that I wouldn't let myself near anyone because I was afraid, they asked me to stay. Because they're brave.
You think you can fill the hole where my heart used to be with what? Platitudes? Friendship?
He starts laughing audibly.
She's go ahead.
V stops for a moment and be like, when you say, friend, that you're not a hero, I relate so much to you because all I want to do is get through all of this so that I can get rich. Because you know Andake is going to pay a hefty fee if we save the world. You know? I did not trust anybody. I was on my own, and I too hate someone so badly. I would love nothing more than to quit what I'm doing here and go find this person, Sievert, and end his life. And when I finally found Sievert, I know I can trust these people because Manaya over here, when she didn't have to, she stood by me. When I finally met this Sievert, and when things got ugly and there was a fighting that happened, she stood by my side. She didn't. I would have easily died that day had she not had my back.
Dewey, do you say anything?
You say your rage, your fury. We're all something outside of whatever fate wants us to be. I'm regret, shame, but we have to be more than that right now.
Rev looks at each of you in turn and seems to come to a decision. And then she says, I travel with you for the bird. Nothing more. And she turns and begins to walk. She's talking about you, Dewey.
Because you're bait.
Cause you're bait. Cause the myriad wants you. Okay. Do the four of you follow her? Okay. As you walk, there's like some, I assume pretty awkward silence as your feet sort of squick through the mud and you the humidity, the cold, clammy humidity of the court, which is very odd, like clings to your necks. And then Rev sort of draws short after a few minutes and y'all see the reason why, sort of lying prone in the ground in this path in front of you, is a familiar ratfolk man, as well as two big burly looking dudes in sort of like studded leather and spiky bone from the championship. And even as you approach, the three of them are sort of like, they start to get up. They look really nauseous, sort of similar to how the apostles looked really nauseous by the weave spun nest. And as Rev's huge shadow falls over the three of them, the ratfolk guy sort of scrubs his fur and opens his bleary eyes and goes, what? You! The five of you, you snuck up behind us, didn't you? Knocked us out? I thought we were gonna go meet up at the weave spun nest and take care of this with honor, but clearly there's no honor here.
If we were trying to sneak up on you, wouldn't we have come from behind you? And the weave spun nest is that way?
Yeah, boss, it doesn't really make too much— Silence! No. We were walking, and then there was this— this elf must have cast some spell on us. This pressure, and then we were just out like a light.
Yeah, and our elf cast one spell and you fell to your knees. Pretty piss
Hey,
poor
I'm a pretty
fucking-
good spellcaster. Don't negate
Gives us a dig
me
on.
here.
Pretty piss for fucking showing from you lot. Couldn't even make it there.
The three of them sort of like staggered to their feet, looking really sick. Like they look kind of green around the gills, and really like kind of exhausted. Because presumably getting closer to the weave spun nest to the presence of the Raven Queen knocked them out. They couldn't even get there. And this ratfolk guy who had introduced himself as Ace earlier sort of goes, you know what? Let's get out of here. We've got other obstacles to investigate and set up anyway for the Derby. And you know what? The five of you better watch yourselves. Tide's coming in. And he sort of looks cryptically at his two sort of salt-drenched companions. And they turn and they begin to leave.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to fight.
Are you trying to provoke them into fighting?
I'm asking a simple question.
Okay.
They promised to fight, and we are here.
The three of them draw short.
Manaya.
Their backs stop. You see the tail of the ratfolk guy lash. He looks over his shoulder, and he says, My, Uhan. Are you throwing the gauntlet here?
We are fulfilling our end of the deal. we were promised a fight, and we're here with naught but the scratches from the brambles.
Fine. You know what? To the death, then. Name your champion. Cassius, you be the first. And he sort of taps like the shoulder of one of the big dudes, and the other guy goes, "Well, I wanted to be the first." But Cassius goes, "No, brother, it's my turn." Cracks his neck. He does have two. He cracks his neck and he steps forward, sort of like rippling his muscles. And Rev just goes, "Championship nut. They're challenging us to a formal duel. One of you is the primary. The other one is your second to the death."
Oh, whatever.
Well, they can't even take a little cantrip from a little elf. I'll give them a go.
You're gonna be the first V?
Let's do it.
Okay.
As V's walking forward, we keep them alive, subdue them, make it look like they're dead.
Are you like whispering this to V? Like not?
Mhm,
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And Ace goes, "Priam, you're the second." And Priam goes, "Yeah, of course, no one else." And then Ace just sort of stands back. And he's like wringing his hands and says, "Name your second already. Who's your regent?" Well, and he's looking at you, V. He's looking at you, V, because you're the person fighting.
Oh, I have to name my friend? You and your big words, friend. Why don't you just say what you mean?
I am saying what I mean. Freaking outsiders.
Okay, would you please show these people some manners with me?
Darling, I thought you'd never ask.
Okay, you step forward. All right. Rev just sort of goes, as she like sort of steps off to the side and leans against a boulder, crosses her arms and watches. And at that, Ace, the Ratfolk, goes, "I'll arbitrate." Very well then. Draw your weapons. And this guy, who's unarmed again, you see him like take a stance, and he just sort of like flexes his arms, almost like he's about to do like martial arts or something. At you, V. V, what do you do to prepare?
I'm gonna cast minute meteors. I'm just gonna hold out both sides, and then just you see the air spinning around, and all of a sudden 6 meteorites form around her.
Okay, and they begin to like circle and orbit you. Yeah, and then like the big guy goes, "Magic users. I'm surprised you still have any of that juice left. Well, I'll make sure to wring it out of your dead body." And he sort of like flexes his hands. And V, I need you to roll initiative.
Excellent. I thought you
Could
never
we-
asked.
And with that,
take a
let's go
break?
to our break.
Yeah.
10 minutes, we'll be back with V beating up this salt-smelling big old dude from the championship of Nepal. We will be back in 10. Enjoy the music, enjoy the fan art reel, and we will see you soon. Thanks for the raid again for that. It's probably okay, and we will see you.
I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light, to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light, to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to see a light. I learned to illuminate my darkness. I learn to feel love when I look upon my darkness. When I look, I learned this from a witch who was born of many genders. I learned to see a light. I learned to dance for them. I learned to see. I learned to swallow light. I learned to illuminate my darkness. I learned to swallow my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my darkness. Born of many genders. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dance. Lay me in my glamour tomb. If death should take me, still be VIP. Take my body one more time. My last breath can be yours to keep. Yours to keep. Yours to keep. Oh, bitch, baby, a skeleton key. Now there's pins in your eyes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of episode 5, arc 2 of our D&D campaign. Thank you to everyone who's hosting and rating us during the break. We really appreciate it. It's so great to see all of your non-existent faces in the chat. So just as a reminder, we're going to come back with some content warnings for the rest of this episode and for our campaign in general. Content warnings may include suicide, fantasy violence, violent death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. That's a lot. So with that out of the way, please take care of yourselves as you need to. If any of this is too intense for you, please feel free to step away. And with that, is there anything I'm missing before we hop back in?
What was V's initiative roll?
Yeah, well, that constitutes hopping right back in.
Yeah, it was a 9.
Okay, a 9. All right. So V, as you ready yourself, just to set the scene a little bit here, we're in the middle of a swamp. Manaya, Dewey, and Oka, the three of you, as well as Rev, this big, broad-shouldered, butch drow woman from the Court of Ravens. You're standing off to the side, as V, you step forward, your boots sort of squicking in the mud, and this big, brawny, like, kind of, as he steps forward, right, from the championship, you get to see his face and his body in more detail. He's kind of, like, shaven, with, like, a little, like, almost like mossy like hair, like leaving like a low like mohawk sort of situation on his head. He's got this like deeply tanned skin with all sorts of like old scars all over his body, but he's dressed kind of, aside from like the huge like skull pauldron with like the big like bone spikes coming out of his shoulder, he's dressed pretty plainly in like just leathers, as well as these like these tattered sort of jean like cargo like pants with big old boots, and he is unarmed as far as you can tell, but he sort of curls his fists, and you see that his fingernails are kind of long and raggedy and almost like they're trimmed to be sharp. And as he flashes a predatory smile at you, V, you see that his teeth, his canines specifically, seem pretty big. His tawny eyes sort of like look at you like you're prey that he's cornering, and he's a wolf. So with your 9, he goes first. V, he moves very, very quickly. Even though he's so big and he was talking smack, his body just sort of darts forward like a snake striking, and in an instant he's up on you. What's your AC?
I have a question.
Yes.
Since they got fucked up by the gods, do they have disadvantage on all their shit? Because you would do that to us.
Maybe on the first roll. On the first roll, as he gets his
My
thing.
AC is 16.
Okay. Alright. He has disadvantage on his first attack, which means he doesn't manage to hit you. How do you dodge his attacks? Let's like paint out like a cinematic battle scene.
Because of like all the bramblies stuff, let's just say as he's at the last second lunge, V like jumps on a bramble up on a tree, but like not into the tree, but like onto the trunk, and then like kicks off and lands like on the other side of him.
Okay, yeah. He comes charging forward, and you see that like his hand is curled into a fist. And his other hand is out, like this, like straight. He like throws a punch at you. You somersault away from him, flip off the tree, and land behind him. And then he turns around and he slashes at you with his offhand, with his long, ragged fingernails. He scores a hit, and you are going to take 11 points of slashing damage as his hand just like rakes completely like down your chest, and just like some of your blood splatters against the leaves as he does this. And then he like draws back, and he actually darts out of your range without you getting the chance to like attack him. And he like sort of backs away.
How? With what?
Because that's one of his features. He can avoid opportunity attacks as a bonus action if he disengages.
I hate this.
He like moves out of the way, and he's like moving, and he seems very limber now, actually. And that smell of salt just gets sort of stronger, sort of reeking off his skin. And he sort of goes, "Ha! More where that comes from." And he's just sort of like cracking his head either way and looking at you.
Walk it off, V. You've got this.
And now, V, it is your turn.
Did the casting of minute meteors is that counting against my actions this turn, or is
No.
Okay, sweet. Well then, in that case, I'm going to take 2 of my meteors as a bonus action, and I'm actually glad he walked away from me, honestly, because this gives me more room to throw meteors at him. And I'm just 2 of them are just going to be thrown so that they meet right on opposite, like they're going to make a little curveball and hit him from both sides, where he must make a dex saving throw against
Okay.
14.
He fails.
Excellent. So he's going to take the full fire damage from 2 meteors,
Okay.
which is a total of 4d6 then.
Okay, so roll that.
8, 10, 15 points of fire damage.
Okay.
And that was my bonus action. So now I'm going to cast Scorching Ray and send 2 streaks of fire at him. And my other hand is
Swear to
going to
God,
be
if you set this
pointed
forest on
to
fire.
the Regent and
Oh, I
shoot
swear
it
to
at the
God.
Regent.
You're gonna shoot it at the guy who's not fighting currently?
Yep.
Okay.
V fights dirty.
Okay.
So at the person I'm actually fighting, I haven't used magic in so long. Let's see. So this one is a 19 and a 16, and then at the other guy, that is a 21.
Okay, the 21 hits, the 19 hits, and the 16 just misses. As you throw... Okay, so let's resolve the 2 that do hit. So why don't you roll damage for those?
Okay. The 2 that do hit. First one is 8 points of fire damage.
Okay, is
And
that
the
going to
oth-
be for the guy you're actually fighting, or the guy that is not fighting
Yeah,
currently?
no, that's to the guy actually fighting.
Okay.
And then the one to the Regent is a 10 of fire damage.
Okay. So what does it look like as you're shooting these rays out?
So obviously I just did the actions of firing that, and then one hand is just going to fire 2 that split off and straight at the guy while he's still like reeling from the 2 fireballs hitting him. And then the other one is just casually like at her side as if she was doing a sleight of hand, just shoots backwards at where she believes the other guy was standing.
Okay,
And just
yeah.
shoots straight out at him.
So the guy you're actually fighting, Cassius, he spins, even though like his head is like clamped, and burning. You see like bits of like skin sizzling and fizzling, and the smell of like burning flesh a little bit like starting to mix in with the clammy coldness of the atmosphere here. He spins and he spins out of the way of one of your bolts, right? That just sort of goes flying into the foliage, and you hear, I don't know, like a duck squawk in agony. And then the other one like smashes into him, and he snarls, and it like takes off a chunk of his shirt there, and it just scorches his skin, and he lets out a guttural growl. And then your other stray bolt of scorching ray slams into his regent, his second, Priam, who looks completely caught off guard by the fact that you're targeting him, and he reels backward actually from the force of the scorching ray, and at that Ace goes, hey, stop! Foul, what the hell are you playing at? You can't attack the regent when he hasn't even been tapped in. The hell are you doing?
She didn't. That's
I'm-
stray magic.
Yeah, I'm a wild
Just fucking watch where
sorcerer.
you're standing.
I can't control what comes out of my body sometimes.
Okay, V, I need you to roll deception with advantage because Oka's helping you.
Let's see. I gotta remember how much deception. So 24.
Okay. The ratfolk guy, Ace, squints his like kind of beady eyes at you, and he says, I just control it, okay? Cause even stray magic, that it looked pretty targeted to me. So just control your freaking magic, okay? Or we're calling this whole thing off. Alright? Disqualification rules.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you scared?
Stray magic or not, it's your responsibility to keep that shit in check.
Oh, I'm okay, fine. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not from where you are. I don't have your customs, and where I come from, a fight is a fight.
Boss, I'm okay, says Priam, and he's sort of like dusting off like his scorched like clothes. Cassius, give him hell. And Cassius like cracks his knuckles again and says, I see what you're doing. He sort of leans in, like says under his breath, you're playing dirty, aren't you? Yeah, two can play that game, you little. And then he says like a really mean swear word at you. And now I think it's on to the second turn. Oka, you're just sort of sitting there, right? Like, are you just twiddling your thumbs?
Oh, hardly.
Okay. Are you itching to hop in?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you like to try to roll some history to see if you know anything about the rules of dueling in, like, the championship? To see if maybe you would have learned this in your studies?
Sure.
Or encountered this during your travels?
I mean, like, if any of them try anything, like, if Priam is now gonna, whatever. Probably not. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
13. Okay, with a 13, you vaguely... I mean, you know the rules of dueling in too long. And you're not, based on that, it's pretty different here. There's no first or second or anything like that. But maybe there is some sort of, like, mechanic or some sort of rule where you can tap out. Like, you can offer to sub in. But if you do, you would know that, like, V would not be able to tap back in. It's sort of like a final one and done sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if V seems like she's up against the ropes, you'd probably sub in before she gets killed or worse. So this guy, Cassius, he cracks his neck and then he just goes, ugh. I can feel it, Ace. Can you feel it, Priam? And the two folks from the championship go, yeah. And Ace just sort of like raises his snout and says again, looking at like all of you with like a glint in his beady eye, like I said, tide's coming in. And then Cassius transforms. His entire body sort of cracks and cracks and cracks, and the smell of salt gets stronger and stronger, and then his face elongates, forming two like snapping jaws, like a wolf's jaw, and then like fur sprouts just like from his skin as he gets bigger and bigger, and his nails turn into claws, and you sort of see the reason why he was unarmed, and then like his boots actually split with his feet getting bigger and claws coming out of his feet, and then he lets out a howl as in front of you you see Andake's very own, probably for the first time in any of your lives, a tide wolf.
Tide wolf can
transform.
Fan service.
Fan service tide wolf. Okay, Oka's in.
Do you tap in as soon as you see this?
Well, no. I mean, I'm assuming that this is nonsense, so I don't know. I just carry on then, I guess.
Okay, so Cassius, he charges at you with a lot more strength and a lot more vigor than before, and he actually brings both of his fists down upon you, BAM! To try to smash you, so make a dexterity saving throw.
Donkey Kong smash.
The Donkey Kong smash you.
19.
Okay, that is sufficient. You will take half damage. So V, as you roll out of the way, okay, full damage would have been 19. So half of that, rounded down, is 9, right? Okay, so you take 9 bludgeoning damage as his fist just clips your, like, leg, let's say, on the way down, and wow, that is so much power in that one fist, and you see, like, sticks and twigs and mud just all splatter out from the force of his pound. And then he sort of turns around, and he tries to bite you with his huge mouth just straight on you. So your armor class is what, a 16 again?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, okay, that is a hit. So he is going to get you for 12 points of piercing damage as his teeth just chomp onto your leg, and he does not let go. He is grappling you now, in this case. And you actually are also going to take an additional point of, let's see. Okay, 5 points of cold damage as you feel like an
I have
icy
resistance
chill.
to cold.
Great, so in that case it's 2. 2 points of cold damage, like an icy chill, like seep into your bones, but like your resistance, like the rime that you'd cast over your body earlier, like sort of like counteracts that. So V, it is now your turn.
How you doing,
Excellent. I'm fine. Let's see. So let's cast, since he's all on my business, some shocking grasp.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see. Is this? Do I have to make an attack roll? Yeah, it's a like a melee attack.
Okay.
So we'll do that. That is a 14.
To hit?
Yeah.
That does not hit.
Okay. All right, and then so as a, let's see.
So how does it look? Are you trying to hold on to like the mouth that's like grappling your leg?
Yeah.
Okay, sparks fly from your grasp as you do so, but they just sort of dissipate against his fur. You know, like his fur is like absorbing the static electricity, and you almost like feel like a derisive snort like come out from his nose.
Sure. Then with a bonus action, I'm gonna take 2 more meteors and have them
Slam onto him.
not into him because then I'll be in the fire. So it's gonna have to be like behind him enough that it's going to consume some of him, but less of me.
Okay, so is that a save again, or is that an attack roll for you?
No, that is has to make a dexterity saving throw. 14 is the DC.
Once or twice, because there are 2 meteors.
Last round we just did once.
Okay,
'cause
so
it's
1 for
kind-
2. Great.
Yeah.
He does not make it.
All right, so he takes full damage. Ooh. 16 points of fire damage.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Are you trying to kill him? Are all your blows fatal, or are they non-lethal?
I guess I'll listen to Manai and make it non-fatal.
Okay. Yeah. So what does it look like as these 2 meteors crash into him?
Because I'm trying to not get myself in the fire. They're like they're far enough away. They're like 4 feet away as opposed to like right next to him. So these 2 I basically push off 2 meteors. They do the same like curved path, and they hit about 4 feet behind him. And so it goes into like a mini fireball that just like grabs like his back and legs or whatever like part of him is further away from me.
Okay. Yeah. There's
Burn his tail off.
Yeah, there's like a
Yep.
spherical explosion. He lets out a like a growl as you like singe his fur, and there's like the smell of like burning hair and burning fur as he's clasped onto you. And is that the rest of your turn, V?
Yeah, there's nothing else I can do right now.
Are you gonna try to escape his grapple?
Does that not count
That's
as
an action.
Um,
Or is it your move?
I'll let you try to do that at the end of your turn, if that's something that feels like V would want to try to do to get out of his mouth.
I guess I'll try, but I'm not very strong. So.
Okay, so you can choose either your dex or your strength against his strength.
Yeah, I think V would try to do something more dexterous, like I don't know,
Like wiggle.
wiggle,
Wiggle,
even like
wiggle.
go
Wiggle,
against
wiggle.
do the classic like running up the tree and like behind him, like to just
But
get him
he's
off.
clamped on you. Like you're there. You're all like his mouth is on your leg.
Yeah.
So let's just say you try to shake him off. Okay, so roll a dexterity versus his strength.
Unnatural 20.
Wow. Okay, you managed to do it because he did not roll very well. So what does it look like as you're like wiggling your leg out of his mouth?
I think V is gonna actually like jump straight up and then like use him to like slide between his legs, kind of like using him to pivot. And so like he's just like runs into himself and like has to let go or like do a front flip essentially. So
Yeah, totally. Okay, yeah. So are you like now behind him? Like, did you flip over him and
yeah.
like land behind him? Okay, great. So now it's his turn. He is not looking so great. Actually, he's like panting. He looks haggard, and he's about to like try to like fight you again. When all of you sort of hear a voice come from behind him, his brother, presumably, because they look so similar. Priam goes, "I sub in," and as you see, Priam has also transformed. He, where his brother was kind of like a tawny brown, sort of like shot through with like flecks of black. Priam here is just like a pure, like kind of like a snow white, sort of like wolf here. Also with like that huge bone, like pauldron, like sticking out with spikes. And like his brother Cassius was like about to strike you, and he goes, and he backs off. Like kind of limping a little bit. And Priam completely uninjured except for that one like 10 points of damage that you struck him. Like he flexes his neck, he steps in. And he's gonna roll initiative as he's entering the fray.
Oka will also, as soon as he starts
Okay.
moving, Oka starts moving forward.
Okay? Are you gonna sub in?
They like put a hand on, V's shoulder a little bit. And they're like, may I cut in here?
Absolutely, I warmed him up for you. I thought about that one.
Okay.
Can I do something before Oka steps in? Or like,
Yeah, what are you
as
trying to
Oka's
do?
stepping? I also put a hand on Oka's shoulder, a little bit like trembling, but I'm casting Sanctuary.
Okay, are you trying to do this stealthily? Or are you doing this out in
Yeah.
the open? Okay, what does Sanctuary do?
It wards a creature against attack until the spell ends. Anything that targets it has to make a Wisdom save.
Okay.
Or choose a different target or lose the attack. Yeah.
Okay, roll sleight of hand. Let's see, to like disguise the fact that you're shielding Oka.
21.
Okay, yeah. So what does it look like, Dewey, as he casts a spell on Oka?
Just as Oka's like stepping forward, Dewey places like a hand on, I guess, their back because he's not. He would have to reach up really high. He just like pats the back of Oka, and if you were to, it's hard to notice, but there's like a little bit of a reflection in the air around Oka, that you probably wouldn't notice unless you hit it with something.
Okay, Oka, you step forward, you sub in for V. And V, how are you doing? How's your HP?
I'm at 14, so
Okay, it's a little...
I'm a little messed up, but
A little messed up, yeah.
I've been worse. I have been
Yeah,
worse.
Probably in a similar state to Cassius, then. You step back. Are you, like, limping a little from the bite and, like, the slash on your chest?
Yeah, I'm a little perturbed. Her pair of perfectly fine vest and blouse being ripped a bit, so but yeah, I'm limping away.
Okay, V, you limp back into the fold with Manaya, Dewey, and Rev. And Oka, you step forward. Oka, roll initiative.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you go first.
20.
I just saw that. Yeah, you go first. What do you do, Oka?
Let's see. I have all my new things that I don't think I wrote down anywhere. Sorry, I need to go look for them.
Well, if you don't have them, you don't have them.
I do have them. I have my beautiful culling edge.
You have your tattoo.
I do have my tattoo.
Yeah.
So Oka kind of like, well, they're not bleeding yet, but they flex their arm, and it's just kind of like a 1, 2, poof, and the blade just shoots out of...
It's an action to apply your blood, apply your blood, whatever, to your weapon, though, right? And that basically replaces that. So you'd have to spend an action to do that?
I would have to spend a bonus action to activate my Crimson Right on my weapon.
Okay, yeah, so that's a bonus action.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. And the blood blade, all, I think it's like red and gold, kind of just like, it looks like tempered steel, but it just like curves out of the front,
Mm-hmm.
And Oka, I think maybe for the first time, it's also like crackling with like, there's a little bit of like that red lightning crackling off of it. And again, a little bit of the heat of that flame. Tide may be coming in, but it always goes back out, doesn't it? And they take a dueling stance, and then they charge forward.
Okay, what do you do?
This is not, like, they are familiar with a weapon that, like, comes kind of out of their hand. So they're gonna, like, actually just, like, get in a lot closer, and like they're punching him, and, like, using the blade as, like,
So you're making an attack roll?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Natural fucking 20, Connie. You can see it right there.
I do, yeah.
You can see
I
it
saw you
right
roll
there.
Okay,
You're having a day.
so
That's my third nat 20 of the session.
I'm gonna allow you to pick one of two things. One is you just get extra damage, which means that you get full damage, and then you get to roll again on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can pick a special, you could sell me some sort of like narrative or like boon that you get from it.
I'm just looking at all the other things that I can do. So instead of taking the extra damage, when I do use my damage, could I could I use your action? So my Blood Curse of the Fallen Puppet activates when a creature drops to 0 HP. I can use it to make a single weapon attack against a target of my choice.
Okay.
This would not be him falling to 0 HP, but could I, since I am able to get his blood, just use it to spin his own arm around on him?
You want him to attack himself?
Yep.
Okay, so that would
It's
be...
fine. I'll just take the extra damage. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This is already a battle taking forever, so
Okay.
I'll just do that. It's gonna be a lot though.
All right. So what is the max damage you can deal?
The max damage that I would deal with this attack is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
With one hit?
With one hit.
Okay, so he takes...
It's a 1d12 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6.
Okay, so that is 30. And then you can just roll damage on top of that too. Your base damage.
Not my right damage?
Yeah, because usually what you do is double damage, right? On a crit. So you roll your base damage for your weapon twice.
Okay, but even though my weapon is activated with my Crimson Right, I actually have to lose some HP about that also. I forgot.
Yeah, you do. So roll for that first.
1d10. Which one's that? This one. I lose 5 HP.
Okay.
Minus 5. So that's, what did I say, 30?
Yeah, you said 30 for the max. So
Yep.
roll your base damage.
Plus...
I think, yeah. I don't...
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then my Crimson Right.
Yeah,
also.
then you'd roll it again, yeah.
Okay,
Anything you would roll, you roll again.
9 plus 8.
That's 17. Okay.
30 plus 47.
47 points of damage. Okay. So what does it look like as you cleave into him?
Punch up, break, puncture a lung. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing about the, who has an ugly fucking mug now. Oka punches him in the face, I think, with their fist. But then they, since the blade comes like this, I think it gets around the back of his head and they just go, shoop! Against, the back of one of his ears.
You're gonna try to puncture his skull? Are you lethal or non-lethal?
Non-lethally.
Are you?
I'm
that
gonna,
doesn't seem very non-lethal to me.
How do you-
Oka. How do you
Yeah.
pierce someone's
Non-lethal.
skull non-lethal?
I'm not
non-lethal.
trying to pierce his head. It's slashing damage, not piercing damage.
Okay, you're
Perform
slashing him in the
trepidation.
back of his head?
Yeah. His furry head. I don't know. Fine, I'll just slash him across the chest. It's fine.
Okay, across the chest. Yeah, I'm gonna stab him through the head non-lethally. Very zombie killer of you. Okay, you slash him across the chest, he gasps, and he staggers backward.
I have an extra attack now.
Okay, go for it.
You're trying not to kill him?
I'm trying to fucking ruin his day.
His day's pretty ruined.
17.
Okay, that just hits. So roll damage.
Kidoki. 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of damage. And that's a mix of fire, lightning, and, slashing.
Okay. All coming out from your blade.
Yep. And do I want to do...
How much damage was that?
That one was... I'm going to do math again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Okay. Was that lethal or non-lethal?
Non-lethal.
Okay, where are you getting him?
It's like a whoop, 1, 2.
Like an X across his chest?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, describe it.
Yeah, Oka moves, Oka is just there, and it's the 1, 2, and they draw back in their dueling
Perfect
stance.
duelist stance. Okay. Yeah. You draw back.
Oh my god, I have +2 when I'm using a one-handed weapon also, so that's
Okay.
15.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having a time, aren't I?
Yeah. So is that 2 on top of the 30, the 17, and the 13?
Yep.
Okay. So that is 6 total, right? An extra 6. Okay. So he's fully dropped to 1 HP because it's non-lethal, right? You cut open his chest. He goes, ah, and he takes a knee actually before you as you draw. Are you drawing out of his range of attack?
No.
Okay, still within his range, so it wouldn't provoke an attack of opportunity. Okay, you draw back. Is there anything else you do or say?
Who is an ugly fucking mug now?
He spits out a mouthful of blood, bah, like onto the ground. He looks up at you, and then he rises. He sort of like gets up to his feet, but he's panting really haggardly. And then he's gonna, not even saying anything, he's gonna like run forward, rush you because you're right there, and he's gonna try to crack your skulls together.
Oh, that's gonna hurt him more than it's gonna hurt me.
So yeah, make a strength competition.
19.
Okay, you beat him, but you're both gonna take damage.
That's fine.
You're both gonna deal damage to each other. But because you got a bigger die, roll a d20 and he's gonna roll a d12. And add your strength modifier on top of it.
Oh, that was not very much. 4.
He deals 10 points of damage to you with that. 10 points of, let's say, like, smashing, bludgeoning damage is bang! It's like ring, 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 ring as your heads, like, collide with each other. And maybe you're both, like, a little discombobulated when he opens his jaw wide and clamps down on your...
I dealt him 4 points of damage. He should be down.
Yeah.
You said that he had 1 HP.
He's at 1 left.
And I just dealt 4 more with my skull.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
that's true.
Is he gonna, like, kill
Okay,
himself?
that's lethal damage.
It was his choice.
Yeah, that's lethal damage. So he smashes, you're right, thank you for reminding me. He smashes his skull into yours, and you see his, like, skull crack a little. And then you see his eyes go, like, slack, and then he stumbles backward, and then he sort of falls down, like, onto his knees. There's, like, a moment of silence.
Dewey, for fuck's sake, would you please help this poor fucking
And
idiot?
then he gets up onto his feet, and he just says, "Remember, you can't die here." And he lunges at you with
I am
his
so fucking
with his
annoyed
jaws
with
open.
Dumb fucking tide wolf.
So make a dexterity saving throw.
100. I love this 100% homebrew content. Meant to kill us.
That was not very good. It was a base of 4, probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, that is not quite sufficiency. So Oka is going to take. Oh, that's not that bad. 14 points of piercing damage, plus just three points of cold damage. As his teeth again seem to be like imbued with some sort of like icy, like frozen bullshit, and that he's like chomped onto your shoulder, and he's holding you there, just sort of like his brother. He's like grappling you on the shoulder.
Hold on, I need to do math about how much HP I have left. Not very much.
I forgot about Sanctuary.
Oh.
Yeah, if you forget, it doesn't trigger. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Oka, it is your turn.
Where is he clamped on?
Your shoulder
Oka just starts punching him in the head
with your sword, trying to get him off.
with the other hand, and they actually are yelling at Ace. Call the fucking match! I won, you fucking douchebag! Call the match!
Okay, Ace is laughing. And he goes, "I said to the death, and he's not fucking dead yet, is he?"
That's it. I'm tired of this bullshit.
Are you gonna use Vinash?
No.
Okay.
Give
Okay.
my friends a promise. I have 11 hit points left.
I also have 2 meteors left.
Yeah, V, you can intercede, but yeah, like
Well, I
that's...
mean, at this point, it's
I mean,
the-
he's cheating.
So I think I'm just gonna throw the 2 meteors at Ace. Actually, after
Okay.
he says that.
Okay, wait. No, don't do that.
You can do whatever you want, V.
What would you have me do, Devin? Out of
Yeah,
character? What would
it's up to Erica. If Erica wants to do that, Erica can do it.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, after Ace says that, V's just gonna be like, "Hey, Ace, catch!" and throw the 2 fireballs directly at him.
Okay, is that an attack roll?
It's not an attack roll. He
dex
has to do a
save?
dex.
Okay, he's a rat, so
Against-
he's pretty dexterous, but against 14?
Yep,
Okay, what happens if he saves?
it's half damage.
Okay. He does save. So
Okay.
why don't you roll half damage for that?
Damn, that wasn't not even a good roll anyway.
While that's happening, Oka, is there anything in particular you're trying to do?
Oh, fine. I am going to use my Radiant Soul. So as this dumb fucking bitch-ass wolf is chomping down on my shoulder, both wings sprout.
Okay.
Less transparent. You know, they just get less transparent
Every time they sprout, yeah. More fleshy.
No, like
Bony?
no, with feathers.
Oh, feathers.
Feathers. Flesh. What the
Feathery.
hell are you talking about?
Flesh wings? Anyone?
No, please no.
Okay.
Ew, gross. That's the worst word I've ever heard in my life.
And as he's hanging on, Oka's just gonna,
You're gonna fly up into the air with him?
yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna like drop him like somewhere deep in the woods? That's pretty smart. Why don't you have some inspiration for that, see?
Oh, nice.
For that, okay. That's a pretty smart idea. Okay, you fly up with your feathery wings. They break out of your back, almost painfully coming out, actually. So why don't you roll your Crimson Right die as they smash out of your skin? Because remember, you made that devil's bargain.
That
All
was
right.
like 6 episodes ago.
We made it twice, bitch. So
Alright, I have 7 hit points left.
okay, you fly up into the air, fighting past the haze of pain, right? Of your wings breaking past your flesh. You fly him into the air. What are you doing with him?
I'm letting him realize that I'm getting as high up into the air as I can go.
Okay.
And I'm letting him realize that he is no longer on solid ground.
Okay.
You like the fucking water so much? How about I drop you in the fucking river?
He's clamped on and he's like wiggling
Yeah?
on you.
You think the alligators are gonna care if you can't die? They'll fucking eat you while you're still alive.
And then do you like try to drop him into like a river?
I'm just letting him hang on.
Okay, you're letting him sweat a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. In that case, he seems pretty like he's up there. The sky is not his domain by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm trying to get him to yield. Yield! Or I fucking drop you in the alligator pit.
He lets go of your shoulder, and before he says what he needs to say to you, V, what did you roll for damage?
It was 9, so 4 fire damage.
Okay, yeah. Ace's eyes widen, his like rat ears peel back into his skull, and he dives out of the way just in time as 2 meteors smash into the place where he was standing and explode against the ground and still hit him a little bit. And he scuds, he falls onto his ass, and he's like sort of like sitting there like covered in mud and dirt and a little singed, around the whiskers. And he goes, "You're crazy! You're cheating!"
You're cheating, friend. In a place that there is no death, you're not calling a fight that is clearly over?
And on that, the tide wolf that was sort of like hanging on to you, okay, goes, "Fine, I yield!
I drop him from like 10 feet up.
You drop him from 10 feet up, he bang onto, well, it's mud, so he splashes onto the ground and goes, "Ugh." And he sort of rights himself, and Ace goes, "Fine! You're useless! Both of you are useless!" And he's talking to, like, the 2, like, wolf brothers, who in that moment you see, like, the fur is, like, receding back into their flesh, They're becoming more, like, human-like again, and they, like, shrink a little bit, and they both look real fucked up. And Ace picks himself up, he dusts himself off, and he says, "This isn't over. They have won this battle, but we're gonna win the frickin' war. By the war, we mean the frickin' derby. Come on, Cassius. Come on, Priam."
Benaiah starts walking forward towards them, towards the 2 who fought specifically.
Okay.
As they're shrinking down, she looks down, crosses her arms. "You fought well. Don't let that bastard tell you otherwise. Good fighters. Hope you use your skills a little better, for a better cause in the future." And she turns around and walks away.
Okay, yeah. The 2 brothers sort of look at themselves like stupefied. And Cassius, the one that was like thrashed to death, literally, by Oka, who cracked his own skull open against Oka's head, just sort of goes, "Yeah, don't think you're better than us." But then like he sort of like gets up like limping, It seems like the fob maybe broke like a leg or something, and he like limps after Ace and after his brother Priam. Sorry, it was Priam who was hanging on to you. But let's say it was Priam who said that. Limps after his brother Cassius. Are any of you going to say anything else as they sort of like... They're not going to move on to the Weave-spun nest. You beating them means they're not going to try to harass the apostles there or anything like that. They're cutting their losses and leaving.
Oka rubs their forehead. fucking punchable faces.
Just a weak ass elf.
You did well though, and Manai goes in for high fives and hugs.
And in the like I feel like the hug, like that's where V's like, oh my god, I hurt so much.
Sorry. Yeah, be careful. Can we get somewhere where you guys can get patched up and rest? You look.
What do you mean?
You
I
look
feel
terrible.
fine. Oka's wings are like limp behind them.
Yeah, Oka
Like,
looks like
one's
they're
like-
about to die.
That was
Manai's gonna take note of the direction they were walking in, supposedly towards the Derby. Try to memorize that, and then nod at Dewey. Yeah, we should find a place to rest.
Okay.
Ideally without leeches in the ground.
Yeah. Rev sort of pushes off against like the. She was just watching this entire time, like silently. She pushes off against the trunk, like uncrosses her arms, and says, I am no student of the healing arts. The most I could do is a bandage, maybe a splint. Let time take care of the rest. We can go back to the docks. They might have some poultices there. But most of the healers here got their power from worshipping the Raven Queen. That power is now gone, for obvious reasons.
Oh, maybe I should heal them then.
Yeah, maybe you should. So what are you gonna do, Dewey?
I'll take out my little first aid kit and wrap up any bones that might be fractured and cover any open wounds, just to hold us over until we get to the next place we can rest.
To get to yeah, okay, sounds good. Are y'all gonna go back to the docks where you left Mosscrawler? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So Rev leads you back there. By the time you get there, it's starting to get a little dark, like in the sky, you know, and you're hearing like the plant life, the groaning of like bugs and of birds all around you begin to like quiet down. It seems like even the fauna and the flora here know that when dark falls, bad things happen here now in the court. Not like they used to. And Rev's like footsteps seem to hurry up a little bit. And you finally reach this dock area where you'd met that like old lady who was very excited for the two of you, Oka and I, to become new apostles of the Raven Queen. And yeah, sure enough, you see Mosscrawler sort of like safely like tethered against like a rack of other boats and canoes and kayaks and whatnot. The docks are pretty not busy at this point. You just see some home fires lit inside like the dock buildings. Maybe a few stragglers here and there hauling their boats in. No one's setting out at this hour. What do the four of you do? Oh, you're
Well,
muted. Oh, sorry, you're not anymore.
We're here for poultices. Let's go find some.
Yeah. Are there any taverns around here? Hostels? Anything?
There's one maybe a quarter of a mile down the river.
I'll get us there.
All right. Can you hold on until then?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You look like shit.
You look like shit.
Rev like cocks her head to the side.
Okay.
Don't mind them. They'll be alright.
Okay.
They've come back from West.
That's right, I have.
Okay. So what did the four of you do?
I suppose we crawl into Mosscrawler and make our way towards... Crawl our way into Mosscrawler.
Okay, yeah. You take the boat off of the rack and you level it against the shore. And, you know, it's a little bit of a squeeze with Rev now as well. But you manage to fit. And you get into the boat and you begin to, like, float down the black tongue. Go ahead.
Yeah, it'll be Rev and I steering and paddling in the back. I'll leave Dewey to take care of V and Oka, just like in the bottom of the boat, I guess.
Yeah, the two fucked up fighters, yeah. As the sun, you know, there's no sun. The sunless light in the sky begins to dim, you know, and dim and dim. Rev actually reaches through her pack and she pulls out like a torch and she lights it and sort of like sticks it, like wedges it between two planks in the boat to sort of like help light the way. As you journey down this river, let's say we have like a little while before we reach just a few minutes before we reach the dock town, let's say, that Rev seems to be leading the four of you toward. What do the four of you say in this stretch of silence?
It's so fucking annoying. Why would you fucking ask someone to duel to the death if you just want to keep fighting and fighting and fighting? Not call it. That was the worst fucking duel I've ever done.
I mean, if I could beat one of them, then they couldn't have been that good.
Exactly. They weren't good. They were just fucking annoying.
Some people just want to see others suffer.
Ugh. What's the point?
I have a feeling they were scoping out the competition.
Yeah, well, they got their asses handed to them.
There's like a pause. Rev like glances at you, Oka, and at you, V. Says, I have a feeling they weren't showing their full hand.
Well, that could go two ways. There's plenty I didn't show them.
Sure. And then she like jerks her chin toward a cluster of lights upon the shore on the far bank. And you see like on stilts, what seems to be like a little village or perhaps like a hamlet with just like a single very humble dock. And you see like lights burning from inside buildings, you know, and they seem to be connected to each other by like a series of bridges and ramps and ladders and ropes, and they're all on stilts, like above, like kind of like a drowned in area of the shore. So Rev instructs you, Manaya, to sort of like guide Mosscrawler into that little dock area, and you know, as you begin to drift between these like houses on stilts, you see them pass. You can smell like food cooking from within, and she guides you toward a place where other like canoes and kayaks and boats are like docked, and there's like a little like platform that the five of you can crawl onto. That is also like a ramp leads directly into the water, and the part where the wood has been submerged for many, many, many years. What?
Erica just sneezed so hard that her eyelash just fell off. I'm sorry.
I did. I'm not gonna lie. This fell right off.
Thanks, Erica.
I'm so sorry. I watched her sneeze and then.
Yeah. Are you okay, Erica?
Yeah, it's fine. It was a magnetic eyelash. It just fell off.
Okay.
The speed at which my head flew forward.
Expunged the eyelash into your palm.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting, Connie.
No worries, that was glorious. Anyway, yeah, you're docked at this little like village, this little hamlet. And Rev just sort of looks around, gestures at this entire small collection of houses on stilts, and says, "Vine hang." What do the four of you do?
How quaint.
The right?
What was that, Manaya? What did you say?
What's the right? To keep a boat here?
What? I don't really understand what you're saying.
We had to pay to keep Mosscrawler safe at the previous docks.
Mhm.
What is the rate here?
Oh, the rate. I thought you said the right. Okay. Sorry.
My apologies.
Yeah. Rev just sort of shrugs non-committally. It varies no more than a gold for an outsider's fee. The
Who do I pay?
Dockmaster should be right up there. And she sort of jerks her head toward a little house that overlooks the Black Tongue, is the one that's farthest away from the depths of the Polluto Weald.
Right. Let's get out of the water. I'll go pay.
Okay.
I'll find us a tavern for the night.
Are y'all gonna stay here for the night? Vine hang? Okay. So yeah, we can like quickly like go through that. The houses here all sort of like smell like fresh water. and the wood is always kind of damp, but not rotten, you notice. Perhaps it's some sort of magic that keeps the wood from rotting into the water, even though like so much of the black tongue is like constantly swilling up against the base. The four of you make your way up the ramp. Manaya, you split off temporarily from the party to locate the dockmaster inside and pay him. And Rev directs the four of you to a tavern, sort of like nestled between like a tall cypress tree with like hanging like leaves, and branches, and next to like a willow with their big like leaves hanging down, like tears, like green tears crying. And the tavern has a very simple name. You don't know what, I don't think any of you speak Raven speech, right? Or understand it, right? But the name is in Raven speech, and it's sort of like dotted up above the entrance into the tavern. And Raven speech, the language itself, sort of looks a little bit like a Braille. It's like comprised of like dots and whatnot. And Rev, without telling you, like translating for you, sort of like nudges her way in. And you notice she pulls like a hood over her face to sort of like obscure it from people who perhaps might recognize her as she goes inside. The interior of the tavern is very homey. There's no fire burning necessarily, but there are like several torch sconces like stuck into an array, like on one side of the wall, that's like providing like a good amount of like heat and warmth and light. And interestingly enough, there is an open pit in the middle of the tavern that sort of just opens up into like the river, like the swampy like water underneath. And there's like a couple of like court denizens sitting around it fishing. And they're talking to each other and they're like smoking out of pipes. And the smoke just seems to like congeal against like the straw roof and just hang there pleasantly. And behind the counter, there seems to be like 2 floors of this rather small tavern. All of you sort of see a red dragonborn woman like swabbing the counter, and she looks up as you enter. She says, "Oh, outsiders." And her common is kind of heavily accented. She almost talks like a bird, like pecking, like a woodpecker pecking is sort of how she speaks. "Outsiders, yes, hello, how can I help the 5 of you?"
3 rooms, please, for the night.
3? Certainly. We only had 3 rooms open, so what luck? Well, come. Let us figure out the rate.
Of course.
Oka kind of like pushes V forward.
No. Paying a fair rate for this one.
She's like eyeing like the 5 of you up and down. You can see that she's like doing like outsider inflated prices like in her head. And the rate she comes out with is a gold per night, per room.
Okay. Do the rooms have at least 2 beds?
Yes. Well, 2 of them have 2 beds. One of them has 1 bed.
Right. That's yours, Rev.
Rev just sort of like nods, you know. And like the dragonborn woman looks very curiously trying to peer under her hood, but like Rev leans back so she can't see.
Mm-hmm. Do you watch over V, Oka and I? 3 gold. You up?
Okay, she takes the gold from you and hands you your keys.
Thank you.
Okay. So how do the 5 of you... Well, I guess it depends on the 4 of you first. How do the 4 of you spend the rest of your night before you turn in for bed?
I make sure Oka gets into bed and stays in bed, so don't try anything.
They actually are not interested in trying anything.
Good.
Except for bleeding into their bowl of scrying.
To talk to Dr. Aliso?
Yeah.
Right. So we should all probably meet in Manaya and Oka's room then for that.
Are you
Rev to do her own
gonna
stuff.
invite Rev or have her like go off and do her own
Well,
thing? Because Dr. Aliso would probably want to know that you met another Paragon.
Let's bring it up next time.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So Rev sort of silently goes off to her own room, and the 4 of you congregate in Oka and Manaya's room. It's a very basic room. There are stairs leading up to the 2nd floor, but also like a longer series of ramps that lead up to the 2nd floor that like curl around the building from outside. So people in wheelchairs and with mobility concerns can also get up pretty easily. And the 4 of you all congregate in. It's cramped for 2, very cramped for 4. There are 2 beds, but they're like twin size and smashed next to each other. is sort of the situation. And beds, they're mattresses on the floor. You know, they're not really even mattresses. They're just like stuffed with hay. I was like hay bales with like a sheet over it, or like not hay, but like a river grass, like stitched together, dried out and stitched together.
Progressively gets worse as you keep
Yes,
describing
as
it.
I go on, yeah, it just deteriorates.
Ooh, you gotta hydrate.
What was that?
Hydrate.
Hydrate redemption. Let's get some water in our bodies.
Can I have that?
Mm-hmm. You go in, you close the door behind you, and there's hardly enough room to sit down, much less stand. Okay, you pull out the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you bleed into it.
Yeah. They
Okay.
just...
You have 7 hit points left. So
Oh, right. It eats me. I forget.
yeah, so maybe someone else should bleed into it.
I've
a
got some
1d6,
fresh
I'll be
bloody
fine.
marks.
Why is it the 2 injured people talking?
Well, because we're already bleeding and bloody. I'll do it.
Okay, V. Roll 1d6.
3.
Okay, you lose 3 points of necrotic damage as you bleed.
I think Oka probably pulls it out.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I like that. Okay, you pull out from V's wounds, like, enough blood. And V, maybe you shudder a little bit as even more of your life force leaves your pale, husky body as your blood, like, enters and drops almost, like, beautifully into this, like, bowl. This decorated, chiseled bowl. And do the 4 of you, like, lean over the bowl?
No, we decided we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
Oka pushes it, like, pulls the blood up.
You pull the blood up and you hold it there and you push the bowl up, so it's like almost like a mirror looking back at the 4 of you. And then the surface of the blood glazes and it turns like almost like white. And then the 4 of you see Dr. Aluso's face behind glasses. You know, they look like they haven't slept in maybe a few days. They look kind of stressed out, and they're usually like kind of perfect, if kind of scraggly hair. It's kind of disheveled. And it looks like it's like kind of like bed rumpled. And they're in the middle of like writing something kind of furiously when the 4 of you call in. And they don't even notice you at first. They continue to write.
Excuse me, good doctor.
Yes, my apologies, yes. Please report in.
This is good to see you.
Yes, it is good to see you as well, Manaya. Good news, I hope. How is the court? How is everything?
Well, we found the Raven Queen's echo, and we found her Paragon
What?
as well. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a discrepancy, I guess.
Do you tell... Okay, I'm assuming you tell Dr. Luso. What do you leave out?
Oka doesn't say anything about the
Your
letter
past. Oh.
or their past or anything like that, and they also don't say anything about the people. I mean, just what's important, really.
We mentioned Rev by name. Okay.
Okay, do you mention that it's short for Revenant? And that she's undead?
That's one of the complications, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you bring that up. Dr. Luso takes this all in. Oka, how do you round out your tale?
Yeah, so everything's kind of fucked.
Dr. Luso, like, takes, like, a long sigh, sort of, like, rubs the sides of their temple, like, underneath their glasses.
Not to add more to whatever bullshit you're obviously going through.
Nothing, just strange dreams.
What kind of...
Nothing of importance, really.
You too?
No. Not like any of the dreams you've told me at all. Stranger dreams, I suppose.
About the
Stranger
stranger or
No. My apologies.
Or
It's been
more
quite
strange.
a day. Quite a night, really. Squeak usually keeps me in line. Without her, I've been a little... And, like, they gesture, like, broadly at their office, and you see it looks even more disheveled than usual. I've just had dreams about... nothing, really. Nothing at all. Anyway, Revenant. Rev. You said she's with you right now?
Room next door. We're at an inn.
I see. Well, if she is a Revenant, that does not necessarily bode well. Once she dispatches of the Myriad, or the Myriad dispatches of her, her purpose, she will see it, as fulfilled. And it seems like, despite all of your best attempts, she was not necessarily convinced to change sides simply because you asked. It appears you have to find something that can motivate her beyond vengeance. Maybe try to get to know her.
What happens if she fulfills her purpose?
Well, as a revenant, it is a kind of monster, a necromantic entity, a body, a corpse, a soul, reunited after death to seek vengeance or fulfill some sort of burning goal that they could not in their mortal life. Usually vengeance. If she fulfills it, she's gone. And now that we know the now is cut off from the after, she's gone. I don't really know what this means for us to lose a Paragon. It cannot be good.
That is, I think, what Vinash was saying.
V, you know something of vengeance and revenge. What tempers it?
When I find out the answer to that, I could tell you. For me, I think I still want nothing more than to do away with Sievert, but I'm a little bit preoccupied with more important matters at the moment. So if we can think of something that might be more important to her, that she would drop this quest so that she would come do that instead.
Yes, try to figure out what the object of her vengeance is. Why, how has the Myriad wronged her? Do any of you know?
This has been a long day for us too, Doctor.
Yes, of course, you must be tired. Please, I'll hold you no longer, but my parting advice is try to get to the heart of the matter. Why is she so hell's bent on revenge? If we figure out the why, maybe we can figure out how we can motivate her otherwise.
And then maybe I can stop running.
Yes, Cardew. Perhaps. It might not be a bad idea. She seems pretty powerful for her to take care of your would-be assassin for you. But if she did, of course, she would go. And yes, it's yeah.
Have you ever tried flying instead of running?
I just Dewey narrows his eyes at Oka.
Ah, the look of a bird of prey. Be careful, Oka. Now, is there anything else before I take a long overdue nap for myself?
When I looks at the party. One last thing. Something my captain taught me.
Yes,
When I-
Hahana.
When I couldn't get to sleep, she said, imagine the waves falling back and forth, up and down across your eyelids. It always helped me.
I will give that a try. Thank you, Manaya, for being gracious and kind as always. Anything else?
Did we mention that we're all Paragons too? Like Dewey and
Yeah,
me also?
probably.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Sleep
Wait.
well, Doctor.
Hold up. Did you get any results from your research? Looks like you've been busy.
Yes, I have been. I've been trying to figure out what the next cataclysm might look like. If I can figure out the nature of it, perhaps I could figure out a way to stop it. But try to convert my machine, make it more sophisticated, but I'm hitting something of a wall here. Thaumaturgics and mechanics don't necessarily mesh well all the time, as I'm sure you knew in your line of research at the URL, Dewey. It's just some research stuff. I won't bore you with the details.
With all due respect, Doctor, I think Cardu would appreciate it, but we both need rest.
Yes. Let's check in again tomorrow night.
Of course.
Yes. Sweet dreams. I hope the nightmare does not plague the 4 of you, or rather the 5. If Rev is also a paragon, I am willing to bargain she also gets the same dreams. And I will also do my best not to have any bad dreams. Alright. It was good to see your 4 faces. And, stay alive.
We'll be back with Squeak before you know it.
Dr. Luso nods. And the call-ins.
The call.
The call. Well, yeah, it's a call. the Zoom
The
call-ins.
Zoom call. All right, everyone, close out the Zoom call.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
The host has ended the meeting. You get a notification.
Blood splats back down into the bowl.
Okay. What did the 4 of you do or say to each other?
Well,
See you all at 8 a.m.
On the dot.
as always.
Okay. And with that, did the 4 of you go to sleep? Okay. Yeah, so why don't we,
Wait, hold up.
yeah.
Dewey wants to make sure V gets into bed safely and whatever, and doesn't steal the robe or whatever from the hotel room.
Wait, the robe? That's what you're going with?
It's not
What
that-
are you gonna? Okay, you're gonna.
Never
You would
mind.
steal whatever is in the room.
You
I
steal the
wasn't stealing
fish
anything,
right
I
out
was
of the
doing-
pond.
Yeah, you'd reach into the hole and steal the fish.
I was gonna go sneak to Rev's door and say hello and detect thoughts now.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. That seems
God.
juicy. Dewey, are you okay? So Manaya and Oka, I think, is the real question. Are the 2 of you doing anything before you go to bed, or are you being good children and sleeping?
Oka will offer to sharpen Manaya's axe.
Oh, sure.
It's just, it comforts me, to sharpen my blade, but now it is, just like something to sharpen.
Well, so I'd learned to sharpen it as a wood-cutting axe. I'm excited to see what you do with it.
And I think maybe we just talk weaponry until
bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really sweet. I like that.
Oka's like, well, it's a fine blade. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. The 2 of you both get a point of inspiration. That's cute.
Aw.
Okay, yeah. All right, now for our
Tank
chaos
nerds,
bitches.
tanks, nerds.
Dewey, and V. What's going on?
V is, because they're back in their own room, V is definitely not looking like she's getting ready for bed. She's kind of, I think maybe opens the door every once in a while, sticks her head out the door, see if anyone's out in the hallway.
Are you waiting for someone?
No, I'm thinking about going to just talk to our good friend Rev next door.
Are you gonna talk, or are you? I see the glint in your eye.
I mean, why talk when you could just connect on a deeper level? Talking is just so limited, I think, sometimes. I want to experience Rev.
Magic is limited. Just go talk to her.
Fine.
I saw it in your face, you actually.
All right, V, do you leave and just go talk to Rev?
Yeah, I'll go knock on Rev's door.
Okay, Dewey, do you follow, or are you gonna stay and maybe press your ear to the door? Like ear to the wall?
Yeah, I'll stay, and if they're loud enough, I'll listen, but not like.
Not trying to listen? Okay, sounds good. V, you
He
leave...
pulls out a device that puts up to his ear,
Oh, yeah, like
listens
a
through
big,
the
like-
wall, like the big.
like a
Stethoscope.
big cup. Yeah.
No, I just picture, those little cups that like flatten
Yes.
down and for camping, like, and then you uses that against the door.
Your little invention. Okay. Dewey, you're left alone as V, you exit and you knock on Rev's door.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
You just hear Rev's voice behind it go, "No one's home."
It's me, your good friend Victoria.
You hear Rev mutter something under her voice that sort of maybe sounds like a swear word. And then she just goes, What do you want, V?
Just want to talk as one person who's seeking vengeance to another person seeking vengeance.
Okay, there's like a brief pause, and then the door cracks open just a little, and you sort of see like just like black hair over a golden eye, and she's just like looking at you standing there. Based on how she's dressed, she doesn't seem like she's gone. Do zombies go to sleep? You're not entirely sure, actually. Maybe this is the first time that question has crossed your head. She looks down at you. What do you really want?
You know, it may help if you weren't the only one carrying such a heavy memory. I was wondering if perhaps we could share a memory together.
She quirks like a black eyebrow. She opens the door just a little bit more, like looking down at you. What do you mean, share a memory together?
V reaches out a hand and says, how about, and this is I'm gonna ask to make a weird sort of mechanic play here. I would like to cast Detect Thought, but I would like to do it in both directions, as if I can like give her my memory with Sievert 7 years ago, and she can take, and I can see her memory. I'm searching.
Are you trying to take? Are you probing, or are you just offering yours first?
I will offer mine first.
Okay. What does Rev see?
Rev sees. There we are. 7 years ago. It is a very nice place. It is filled with all sorts of very valuable relics. And there's Sievert, and there is V. And they are obviously looking for something very specific. They are walking past a lot of things. And V turns to Sievert and said, your sources are absolutely sure this is here, right?
And Sievert is dressed sort of like, you know, he turns to you, looks pretty much the same, but he's missing some scars, let's say, across his face from when we last saw him. And he just sort of like turns to you and says, of course, darling. Of course, no need to be so frazzled. When have I ever let you down?
This is true. I always get a bit suspicious when a person says a person of a person, you know, has some good information. So I'm just a little hesitant.
Relax, V. And he actually like, is Rev seeing through your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
So Rev would feel like Sievert like smoothing down, you know, like your arms, and he looks at you, and you look into his like cold blue eyes, but they seem to be like warm and glowing with like affection, and she and you would recognize love for you. Sievert looks down and says, breathe, darling.
V immediately, like, almost like without even being able to control it, just relaxes and like takes a deep breath involuntarily, and just, yeah, like heart rate falls back down, and she feels calm, and she's like with it again.
After we get the knuckle bones, we'll be rolling in wealth. Best food, the best wine, anything you could ask for, lover.
That sounds like music to my ears. What are we waiting for?
Let's go.
And they're searching around. I think V actually spots it first, at the sort of end of this large room. There it is, like on a pedestal, these knuckles that we are searching for. Okay.
And you see, like, Sievert's, like, eyes are, like, glowing, and he, like, carefully steps forward, you know, to them. And he goes, careful, traps. And he, like, gestures toward, like, a very, like, if he hadn't pointed it out, you probably would have stepped on it. Like, a slight, like, elevation of a flagstone.
And I think there's probably a sound far off. And V turns and says, there could be people coming. Let's do this quick.
It's a busy manor. There are people everywhere. Don't lose your cool, V. Remember, stay cool. And he sort of like exhales a little bit of like frost breath as he says that and winks at you.
Kind of swoon a little bit. Kind of swoon
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep. He just sort of says, guard the door.
And V does so. She goes watch the door.
Sievert picks across like this, it looks to like the untrained eye like an empty room, but he's like stepping very like attentively and specifically to avoid specific parts in the ground. And then he gets to like the base of the pedestal, like unfucked, basically. He's fine. And it looks like, you from your distance, you don't really see the knucklebones up close. But he looks over them, and V, you would know that like Sievert had said like that he had disrupted the wards, the alarm wards, earlier beforehand, so you could get in and get out very quickly. But as he reaches for the knucklebones and picks them up, alarms go off. Like, like going off and off and off. And then those footsteps that you heard from earlier begin to like shout and like come toward where you're coming from.
Shit, we've got to get out of here. They're coming. What? How do we miss that alarm?
I didn't. And Sievert sort of brandishes like the two knucklebones you see now, like between each like finger. And he says, something I forgot to mention, actually, darling, about these knucklebones is they don't just grant quote-unquote immortal life. They allow you to teleport as well.
What? Well...
And he begins to chant, like, a lot, like an arcane line, and the knucklebones begin to glow.
V starts booking it towards Sievert, be like, you can't leave without me!
Yeah, but Sievert is continuing to talk, and I think maybe as you're running, you trip some traps, right? That he had specifically not pointed out for you, and then like a net falls down, on you, and like gouts of fire come out like spikes, like pits open up into the ground, and are you doing like your best to like dodge and weave out of the way of these traps as he's standing there by the pedestal?
As acrobatic as possible,
Yeah.
but definitely like getting hit a little bit by stuff.
Yeah, and he looks down at you now, his eyes are just filled with like the love is no longer there. Like it is filled with like almost like a cold like contempt and like a look of almost like victory on his face as he begins to glow, and as he's glowing more and more he begins to become like more translucent, like he's like leaving, like he's like beaming out of there.
Sievert, don't do this.
And maybe I think this floor opens up underneath you in like a trap, and you hang on maybe like to the edge of the pit, and you're like there, and like the footsteps grow louder and louder, the shouting gets louder and louder, and you're basically at his feet now. You're almost there, but you're like hanging on, like very much like Scar Simba moment. As he's standing there, he's beginning to glow more and more. He looks down, and he actually gets down, and he starts holding out a hand for you.
He tries to reach up. She's not very strong, so this is very difficult.
And you hold on to where his hand was, and it goes through his hand because he's becoming more translucent. You can't hold him anymore. And he just goes, V, 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 V. You didn't think I actually loved you, did you?
Sievert.
You didn't think your mother actually loved you, did you? She only loved you for what she thought you represented. Your father.
V is tearing up. She has no words.
And your father doesn't even know you're alive. But if he did, he wouldn't give two fucking rats' asses about you.
Sievert, how could you do this?
His expression sort of hardens. Even though this is your memory, I will ask for an insight check from you, V, to see if you were able, in that moment, to sort of like figure out where this like face heel turn is coming from.
A nat 1.
Yeah, that tracks.
We have an auto crit.
We have an auto crit.
I feel like emotionally like there's too much going on here.
Okay.
I feel like this is like the moment where maybe she falls down into this pit now.
Yeah, and you have where is this coming from? Why is he looking at you with such hatred? Why? It doesn't make any sense. what is he playing at? This makes no sense at all. And he looks down at you contemptuously. And I think all he says is, if you survive, dream of me every night, because I won't even think about you at all.
And V slips and falls and falls and falls. And that's the end of the memory.
Okay. As you're standing like at the threshold of like Rev, Rev has opened the door completely and is standing there a little dumbstruck from the memory. Are you like crying, V?
Yeah. He's crying. Trying to still like physically hold strength, but like clenched real hard, and tears are falling down her face.
And because she was like literally at you, in your memory, like her golden eyes are also welling with tears a little. And you see like some like a few like have come down her face, and she quickly scrubs at it. And wordlessly, she grabs the front of your shirt and she pulls you in, and closes the door behind you. Don't give me that face.
Don't do that.
See?
I'm sorry.
Rev V Vev shippers, and Rev just sort of looks at you and just says, Seabird. That was him.
Yes. I've been hunting him ever since, and I found him. I did burn down his building.
I recall in Dabathati. I thought that was just... That was 7 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do it to me.
He holds out a hand for Rev to grab.
And she takes your hand. And her hand is cold and dry, like death.
And I will
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, go cast Detect Thoughts, and I'm probing for whatever happened with the Myriad.
And then you enter Rev's memory. And I think we can end the session there. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 The V in that one. Like emoji. Oh my god.
Feels like it's session 1 all over again.
Yep, it sure does. Wow. Okay, that was intense. Thank you for that, Erica, for that wonderful gift. Okay, Bao Bao, thank you for your Bao Bao gifts. We love him. We love our Mr. Man as he's crawling across the screen here. Okay, so thank you everyone for tuning in to Arc 2, Episode 5 of Transplanar RPG's main D&D campaign that is yet unnamed. I feel like we should start naming this campaign. If audience members or our players have ideas, I'm all ears. But with that in mind, we will see you next week. That is going to be February 13th for episode 6 of Arc 2 of our main D&D campaign, where we figure out Rev's tragic backstory and also figure out how to make her stop hating the Myriad. And remember, the day after that, on February 14th, Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. Central U.S. time, we are going to be playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians for a special Valentine's Day one-shot. So tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And in the meantime, we have more programming this week. On Tuesday, I believe C is playing Hades for our video gaming night. And for more information, stay tuned for the rest, and then we're just going to have our session on the 13th. So with that, let's do a quick introduction. My name has been Connie. I have been your GM and executive producer. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter at @byConnieChong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I am also a professional GM for Magpie Games curated play programs. If you want to play with me as your GM, I'll hop in and sign in for that. I'm going to pass along introductions to C.
Hi y'all, my name is Cia, use they them pronouns. You can catch me on Twitch tomorrow, streaming art or video games depending on how much energy I have. On my own channel, pi_sharp, you can find me there. I'll be streaming art. My last stream needed before I can hit Twitch affiliate, which is really, really exciting. Hooray! So thank you all so much. I have been Oka. You can follow me on Twitter at pi_sharpart. Max.
Hey, I'm Max. I have been Dewey Quirk. You can find me on Instagram, mostly, at Starchmonger. Baby boy.
Wow.
Yes, you can find cat pictures on my Instagram as well. I'll pass it to Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I played Vinox Scherzo. You can find me, Erica New Girl, on all social media platforms, and come hang out with me on Twitch, where I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays. You can go on my new Erica New Girl page and see what my schedule is, and I will pass it on to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I use them pronouns. You can join the Discord and find me there. Otherwise, you can't find me anywhere. But if you do, I'll give you $1. Maybe. No promises.
Fantastic. And with that, we're going to rate Persephoroth.
Yay.
She is playing Pokemon Diamond Pearl, so use the raid message if someone can drop it in there. We will see you next week for episode 6 of our main campaign episode, Arc 2. We love you all so much. Follow us, join our Discord, and we will see you in 1 week. Peace.